Hello and welcome along to another episode of the Celtic View podcast of this year's special Christmas edition, where we dive into all the great interviews and features in this year's magazine, which this week we actually have a real version of. Last week we had a fake copy, now we have the real version, which is in the club store, so make sure you get yourself a copy of that. This week we're joined by Louise Gould. Louise, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, yeah. Are you excited to be on this week's edition?
Oh, definitely. Looking forward to what we have to talk about.
Brilliant, yeah. We've got a lot to discuss. There's a reason we've got you on, because there's a big women's game this weekend, but we'll dive into that into a bit more detail later on. First of all, let's look back though on the men's team in the last week. They had two games, defeat against Bayer Leverkusen away from home and defeating Aberdeen on Sunday as well. How do you look back on the week for the first team?
I think, in all honesty, it's been a positive. You do look at the Bayer Leverkusen game, and as much as the end result was disappointing, the game itself was a cracker. I mean, you know, when you just have your hands across your mouth at points, and like we've really got to look at Joe Hart, how he played, it was amazing. Even the other goalkeeper, and also the goals we scored, you know, and the goals scored all round. I mean, it was a hell of a game to watch.
I know, I was there at the stadium and it was so gutting when those two goals went in the last 10 minutes, you know, like I was saying to you earlier, I was already typing up my match report with 10 minutes to go, getting it all ready for the big build up to what was going to be a great result. But I think when you look back, we're going away to these teams now in Europe and we're putting in really top performances, and we've scored a lot of goals as well this year.
We had a spark, and you definitely saw that with Jota, and I think you saw that with Joe Hart at the back and the goals that were scored, and it was really exciting, albeit disappointing. But there you go, that's football, highs and lows all round. But then obviously, then we have Aberdeen at home, and a great tribute to Bertie as well. And I mean, that second goal by Callum McGregor was just, you look back at it and you go, did that really happen? But, yeah.
I know, it's one of those, you just take it and get out of the game. But as you said, the tribute to Bertie as well, it was almost so fitting that the game was against Aberdeen, because it gave the opportunity for Scott Brown to come out before the match with Callum McGregor, which was such a special moment.
Yeah, I mean, it just solidifies what Celtic is, and you know, if you leave Celtic, it's still a massive part of you wherever you go, especially for someone like Scott Brown, who's, you know, such a huge part of the club and will always be. I
know, I was a bit worried as well when Scott Brown's coming back, all the niceties, and I thought, wait till he puts in that first challenge, but he got a standing ovation when he went off, so he seemed to get out of the game without any of that happening. But now let's go into our first exclusive interview that we've got this week from the Celtic View magazine. I sat down with Jota a couple of weeks ago, who's been firing on the park, scored 2 goals in the last 2 games, and we put your questions to him. So here's that interview now with Jota. These questions have all come in from the fans. These are the big important questions that they want to know. So this one has come in from Barry, who wants to know, how do you get so much volume in that hair?
Oh, I guess it's like genetic. My father, it's the same, so he just kept saying to me that for sure that's a family thing. So yeah, that's like that. And I don't know if people know, but during the game we sweat a lot. So then I just get volume in the hair, so the people see me on the television, and for sure they think like that. Yeah.
Where would you rank yourself against the other squad members? Do you think you've got the best haircut in the squad?
No, I actually don't pay attention like to the haircut. It's really easy. I wake up in the morning, in 50 seconds this is done, because it's already arranged, you know. It's like done, the hair, so it's good. People often say to me that, oh, you must be like 5 minutes watching the mirror and stuff, but I don't. It's 50 seconds and it's done. So answering your question, I think James Forrest, actually, he has a nice hair. So
yeah, I have to agree with that. Now, you're saying you've been out and around Glasgow, so Ryan Clifford wants to know though if you've tried any of the Scottish delicacies and if you've tried Iron Brew yet.
Iron Brew? What's that? I don't know.
Have you not tried it? But I thought you might.
That's food.
It's a drink, so I thought.
It's a drink.
Yeah, I thought you might say no. So
I don't drink alcohol.
No.
There's no alcohol.
So I brought one for you to try. I don't know if you want to try it.
Okay, you can.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
What is this? It's like juice.
Yeah, it's like a fizzy juice.
Okay, let's see. There's
Hope it doesn't
gas.
fizz up.
Gas.
Yeah.
Oh, That's a turn
You don't need
off.
to drink, no, just try a wee
That's
bit.
a turn off for me. Ah, this is not for me. I'm sorry, guys. No, I actually I'm a very simple guy. I stick with water, but this is a famous thing in Scotland.
Yeah, you've just insulted the whole of Scotland saying no to that, so there you go.
I'm not used to that, sorry guys.
Well, it's probably for the best. It won't be good for a footballer's diet anyway to have that. Right, now let's get on to the football. We've had a lot of questions in asking how you're finding working under the manager.
Yeah, it's been great. Ange has really good ideas. His philosophy of the game, it's something that I've been looking for all these years. I remember when I was younger, seeing the Barca tiki-taka, and our style of play, it's really similar, and we just want to keep the ball and create the space, see the opportunities coming and just finishing. And I think we are doing it quite well. And yeah, it's just enjoying the game. Everyone knows what to do inside the pitch, and I think we are getting to know each other better and better every day, so things are doing good.
Now this question comes from Josh, who wants to know what your favourite goal has been for Celtic so far.
That one is good. I have to say, in terms of feeling, the first one in Celtic Park, it's different to score in the Celtic Park. But I think all the goals are special, I remember the last game where I scored 2 goals and celebrating in the front of the fans. It was really good. Yeah, it was a good feeling. Every game, I think every game it's good. But the first one, because it was the first one, yeah, that's it.
And this one comes from Alex O'Donnell, who's asking what your favourite game has been so far for Celtic.
Okay, that's actually a really nice question. And people might not understand this, but I will have to say the Betis game in Seville. It was one of our best games. We lost 4-3, but if people look closely, we did a really good game and we create chances. Betis, it was not easy for Betis to play against us, and it's Europa stage, so I would have to pick one Europa League game. And that one, although we lost the game, I think it was a really nice game. And it shows a bit of our personality. We were losing, but we wanted to keep on doing our game, and that's what big teams with big personality do, and we want to do that all year.
This one comes from Benny, who's asking, who is your closest friend at Celtic?
That one is difficult. My closest friend. Okay, so the first guy I met was Jota, because we were in Paris doing some medical exams. So I met him before I came to Celtic. So he was the first one, and he was the first guy I had the opportunity to speak about the club, to speak about the adventure that we were going in. And then I think when I came to Celtic, all of the lads were good and just speaking to me all the time. Hey, if you need something, just tell me, we are going to arrange this, arrange that. And nowadays I think we spoke with everyone the same way. Yeah, and I'm good friends with everyone. Yeah.
There we go there, that was that interview with Jota, and he certainly did not like that Iron Brew, that's for sure. And you can read all of that interview in this year's Christmas edition of the magazine, which you can get from the club store. So make sure you get yourself a copy of that. And he's a guy, Jota, he's been playing very well recently and been in and amongst the goals.
I mean, he's just been a star on the pitch. The amount of effort he puts in, that spark that he has, when he's got the ball, it's exciting, and he really is getting good goals and becoming a true Celtic player.
Mm-hmm. And I can see he's a very nice guy off the park as well. He was great to interview, which is always nice. Right, Louise, let's get in and amongst it. Big game for the women this weekend.
Huge game, yep. So, the girls haven't been in a cup final since 2018, and here we are. Semi-finals, we beat Hibs, who were the title holders. In the quarterfinals, we beat Rangers 1-0. So it's been a really fun time in the camp. It's not been easy. Those games are tough games, but we like to leave it late a little bit, as we saw in the Hibs game, getting to quite late on goals. But it's just, there's so much excitement in the camp, and I think this will really help. We've had loads of new players come in and they've hit the ground running, and it's just been a really exciting time to watch women's football in Scotland, full stop, because there's been a real push, and hopefully, you know, tickets are on sale. It's at Firhill on Sunday at 4:10 p.m. kickoff, so everyone can come and watch and see what the girls are like.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get a good crowd down for that one. But as you said, there's been a lot of change over the last couple of years. Obviously, the women moving to a professional model. Things seem to be progressing very well for the girls at this moment in time. Getting a cup win, does that just solidify everything?
Oh, totally. And I think we've seen what Fran's done. I mean, up until our Rangers league game, they were 25 games in the league unbeaten. Now that's epic for any team in any league, whether that's the men's league or the women's league. So I think they've been putting in amazing performances. We've got a raft of new players from all over the globe, and you know, a lot of them have also been performing internationally. And actually, we see that we have 2 girls called up to the Scottish women's team. So we've got Tegan Bowie, who's only 18. She's down the wing now. She tries so hard, and there's that real camaraderie in the team where you are just pushing everyone to be their best. And we've also got Callie Clark, the captain, who has also been called up to the Scotland squad. So it's been a really positive week already for the girls, and we're just building up to that final against Glasgow City. Yeah,
I mean, Glasgow City, though, a bit of a formidable team to come up against, who've done so well in Scotland over the last now 10 to 13 years, haven't they?
I mean, they've been the top runners, yeah, since the league started, since Celtic became a club, became to the women's league in 2007. But, you know, the likes of Celtic, Rangers, they're catching up to Glasgow City. And I think that's a really positive thing. And we know that Celtic can beat Glasgow City, and the girls will be ready for it. The determination on their faces at training, you know, in other games shows that.
Yeah. How are you feeling for it? Are you nervous yourself?
I'm so buzzing. I'm so excited. I mean, my first trip was Norway, the Champions League with the girls, and that was incredible. But I think excitement more than anything, because they deserve to be in a final, and if they can get through and they can win, I mean, that's just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for them. Let's hope they can do it. And as you said, the game's at Firhill on Sunday, so that's actually be quite a nice big Celtic day, because you've got the men's team playing Dundee United at lunchtime, and then you've got the Women's Cup final in the afternoon as well. So you could have a good old Celtic Sunday and get yourself along to Firhill. So we're now going to have our second exclusive interview from this year's magazine. Louise, I was wondering if you could introduce this one for us.
Yep, so this is the women's team's Icelandic winger, María Ólafsdóttir Gros. She's actually currently away with the Iceland under-19s, but we can have a look and see what she's all about.
Yeah, perfect. Let's get to that now.
I mean, you mentioned there you sharing accommodation with some of your teammates as well. Has that helped you settle into the team?
Yeah, I made some really good friends here, and they've been helping me so much. I think that's one of the things that helped me get into the team, was to live with them 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must help as well, the fact that you already speak English as well. That, because then you don't have that language barrier, that you immediately can kind of understand what everybody's saying.
Yeah. That's one of the things I wanted to come here to Scotland, because everyone speaks English, and I learned English in school, so I think that's helping me really much, that I can speak to the girls and just speak the language.
Yeah. Did you notice a difference when you came here, the fact that it's now professional and you're training every day? Did that take a wee bit of adjusting to?
Yeah, so I trained every day back at home, but we weren't a professional team, so we didn't eat breakfast together, we didn't eat lunch, we just trained once a day, twice a day maybe. So yeah, I had to adjust a little bit, and also because I'm in school, there's a lot of things to do when I come home after training, maybe tired and stuff, and then I have to study. So that's been quite hard as well, because of all the just pressure and stuff.
So you're still studying just now then?
Yeah, I'm online school.
Right. So is that an online school in Iceland then, I take it?
Yeah.
So what are you studying? Are you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm preparing for architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you then be going on to study that at university then?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite, as you say, that's quite, on the one hand, you've got a full-time job as a footballer. And then that's a lot of, that is quite demanding.
Yeah, it's been really hard. Yeah, but I'll make it work.
Yeah. Is that something, has that always been an ambition as well, to go into architecture as well as football? Yeah,
it's been my dream since I was 10, or I think I wanted to be an architect. So, and footballer. So I want to do both, but it's gonna be quite hard. But that's what I want to do. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. What made you become interested in architecture?
It's just I really want to just draw houses and build them and make something on my own, and I've loved it ever since I was 10 when I discovered it. So yeah, I don't know, I just like to draw them.
There we go, that was a great interview there with Maria, and it's really fascinating. I mean, she's studying as well at the same time as playing her football. I mean, it's really incredible, isn't it?
I mean, a lot of these girls have plan B options. A lot of them have been to university, or they've gone through the college systems in America. So, there's still that part-time, full-time sort of aspect in the women's game. So, you have to go and get educated. But yeah, it's really interesting to see what the girls are doing outside of football, or what they've learned through college, things like that. But I mean, she's pacey, she's strong, so she's a really exciting one for the future. Yeah,
and hopefully she can grab a goal at the weekend as well. That'd be great. Sure. And again, you can read that full interview in the Celtic View magazine, where we've also got a lot of great competitions as well in this year's edition, including one with Dafabet, who are giving away hospitality for 10 people for a home game at the start of next year. So make sure you get yourself a copy of the magazine to give yourself a chance of winning that. Now, last week, Louise, myself and Paul discussed our favourite last-minute goals, as we have a feature in this year's magazine as well. And we've got a DVD coming out, which you can get for this Christmas, which is great. And we asked you to send in your favourite last-minute goals as well. So we had lots of great options sent into us. I'm just going to read out a few of them here. We had Sean Thomas on YouTube said Scott McDonald's last-minute winner against AC Milan in the Champions League, which I can remember that night very well. That was an amazing experience that night, to beat who I'm pretty sure they were the European champions as well at that point, which was just an amazing experience. You also got Lars on Twitter, said it's got to be Nakamura's free kick against Kilmarnock. Everybody knew where it was going, but when it got there, and then he just puts lots of silly faces. I think we know what he means. I think he enjoyed that one, which is another great shout as well. Stephen Freeld and CJ McEwen, both on Twitter, are saying Jan Vennegoor of Hesslink's header against Rangers in 2008 to win 2-1 in the season that we won the league, and they both mentioned Nakamura's goal in that game as well, which, I mean, obviously it wasn't a last minute goal, but it was some strike. But again, I think I mentioned that one last week. I think that one's got to be my favourite. And Tel McCallum again mentioned Tom Roderick's winner against Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup final, and I think that's one that all Celtic fans will remember very well. So thanks very much for sending in your favourite last minute winners. This week we're going to take inspiration from a feature we've got in the magazine about a fan from Kazakhstan who's travelled all around the world to watch Celtic play, and obviously has to travel quite a distance when he's coming to Celtic Park to watch games. So I thought maybe this week we could put to the fans about seeing the furthest they've maybe travelled for a game. I mean, I think for myself, I've actually been a bit boring. I think probably the furthest I've been is probably only like Italy. It's not that exciting for it. Maybe for a Celtic game, it's not too far, but I don't know for yourself. Have you got any distances you've travelled for games in the past? I
mean, it's not a Celtic game, but it has that Celtic connection. It was 2011. It was the A-League final, and it was Perth Glory, who my father was the coach at, and they were playing against Brisbane Roar, who was Ange Postoglou's team. But I was on when they were playing in the semi-finals, I was on a train with my mum in the UK, and we then were going back to New Zealand. We were living at that time, and so we flew all the way back to New Zealand and then got back on a plane to go to Brisbane to watch the final at the stadium. And I mean, there was a bit of contention at the end, but Ange Postecoglou's team did win. Besart Berisha scored the last minute winner. It was a penalty, but what a game to go and watch, and what a place to go. And the A-League's a really interesting league to go and watch because it's sunny, it's warm, it's such a different vibe. You know, you're here and it's like over the weekend it's snowing and it's freezing.
I know, we were discussing that, weren't we? It was so cold over the weekend.
The way in which you're watching games is so interesting. But yeah, that was probably one of the first times I watched Ange as a manager, and yeah, he's a winner, I guess. And I think we're seeing that here. You know, we're seeing the way in which he plays and getting the positives out of it now, especially.
And obviously the men's team have a cup final to look forward to next month as well. So hopefully he can win that one as well and get another trophy for Celtic.
Could you imagine 2 cup finals, 2 cup wins before Christmas? I mean, that would be a great.
I know, and both men and women's team defeating the cup winners in the semi-finals as well, which is some achievement. So fingers crossed for both teams. But yeah, we want to hear your the furthest you've travelled for games. So make sure that you tweet the Celtic View with the hashtag #ViewPodcast, and we'll discuss the best ones next week. Right, now just to finish up, we'll look ahead to the action for both the men's and women's team this week. The men's team have Hearts here on Thursday before we then travel to Dundee United on Sunday lunchtime as well. 2 tough fixtures, isn't it, against teams that are currently 3rd and 4th in the league?
Exactly, yeah, so it'll be interesting. You know, got Craig Gordon coming here. I mean, he's been fantastic for Scotland, fantastic for Hearts, so that's going to be a tough game, but we have home advantage on our side. And then Dundee United, obviously, Ian Harkes scored an equaliser here, so we'll be up against them on their home turf. But I think we've improved since then, massively.
Yeah, most definitely, I know. The game's just come around so thick and fast at this moment in time as well. Like, you almost can't kind of catch a breath. It's just every 3 days there's a game round the corner. But I think, as you said, the team definitely have improved. I know the first league game of the season played Hearts and lost at Tynecastle, but I think you can already see the improvements since then. So fingers crossed they can get the 3 points in both of those ones. And last word, I think, has to go to the women's team again for that final on Sunday. I mean, such a massive game. I mean, you're around the women's team a lot. What's the buzz? What's the emotions like in the camp at this moment? It must be very, very excited for this one.
Yeah, definitely excited. I think determined. I think there's always for the women's team, just they want to prove themselves, or they want to prove how good they are as athletes, as players, and I think they have been showing that. I mean, with playing in the Champions League, with all the games they've played recently, they've just really shown that they are good enough to win the league, to win cups, and you know, it's the first final since 2018, and I think they're ready for it. I'm just excited to see if Fran Alonso has anything up his sleeve for what he's going to wear on Sunday for a big showpiece event. I mean, honestly, we sometimes need a camera on Fran himself, because at the Hibs semi-final, he was just running up and down Forth Bank Stadium, you know, and I think that's really nice to see as well. He has so much passion and so much trust in the girls, and sometimes they leave it a little late to score those goals, but they always do. And I think, you know, with Charlie Wellings, with Jacinta, with all the girls that we've got in at the moment, you know, you saw a couple of weekends ago, we had Clarissa Larissy, the Canadian, then we had Cheyenne Shorts, American. We have all these different people from different places who are coming into the fold, scoring goals and putting in really good performances. So it's exciting. Yeah,
I wonder what it will be like if we can get it over the line and get a trophy. We'll be up and down that pitch even more. We need to get a heart rate monitor on him, I think. Well, thank you very much for joining us again for this week's edition of the Celtic View podcast. And again, make sure that you get your tickets for Sunday's Cup final, which will have a link in below. But from myself and Louise, thank you very much, and see you again next week. Bye for now.